Hey, welcome into the Stink Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. It's the Leftovers podcast between the game of San Francisco Week 18 and the LA Rams. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Where is that tropical place that you are broadcasting from? Is that like one of those fake montages
Yes.
behind you, or is that real?
Yeah, that is not fake. That is real. You can see that we've got some drawings on the glass behind me. Um, so we are in Oahu, little family vacation. Got all the grandkids, got the kids. So always a good time. Anyhow, yeah. So we got a little vacation right after the season. Thank you, Fox, for flying me out to Hawaii to meet my family.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
very curious to get your thoughts. You've talked at length. You've done a lot of San Francisco games, and we know about your unadulterated love of all things Shanahan. So let's give some love
Hmm.
to the Rams here as they get ready to play this weekend. Super wild card weekend against Detroit. A fascinating matchup. Matthew
Right.
Stafford going back home. Jared Goff going up against the team that basically kicked him to the curb. But you having had a chance to be around the Rams, Sean McVay. I guess my first question that I have as a football fan, are you surprised? Is Sean McVay surprised that this team was able to rebuild as quickly as they did?
Right. Hey, before I do that, just one thing on San Francisco, really quick, because I think this is the most important thing that most people are thinking about right now that are fans of a football team without a quarterback. Okay. Because I think that's big, right? Free agency is going to happen. And you look at, what happened with Jameis Winston in New Orleans. Oh, my Lord. I mean, seriously, really? Victory formation. We're going to go for it. Like, if you, like, one, Jameis, don't be an idiot. Two, okay, if it's not Jameis, somebody else on that off. You're telling me 10 guys are that dumb? There are 10 guys on that offense that are that stupid. It's mind-boggling to me that you can be that dumb. Like, oh, that all guys are like, yeah, good idea. Let's score on victory formation. So, all right, I digress. Here's what I want to say. I think that what Sam Darnold went through this year and the way he's had this year of football rehab, and
Mhm.
I probably spent 20 minutes on the field talking to Sam before the game, and I talked ad nauseum to Kyle Shanahan about Sam. Sam turned down better opportunities to go in and compete for a starting job, to come to San Francisco to compete with Trey Lance, to compete with the quarterbacks that were here because he felt like he could beat those guys out. He turned down more money for different organizations to come play for Kyle Shanahan to get a year of football rehab. And Kyle told him, hey, listen, you're not going to be able to beat Brock Purdy out in practice because he's earned that. You're going to have to outplay him in the preseason. And kind of that's the way they went into this thing. And Sam was like, all right, but I feel like I can beat everybody else out. So he did. They ended up moving Trey Lance to Dallas, who's I don't even know that he dresses, but anyhow, um, so that was really cool. Kyle Shanahan said to me, he said, "Listen, this guy Sam Darnold is a baller. He is smart. He's prepared. He shows up. He's the first guy in the locker room. George Kittle told me, man, this guy is the first dude. Like, I'm like number 4 or 5 in the locker room. He's always there. He's always prepped. Brock Purdy told me on Saturday nights, he pulls Brock aside, goes through the entire game plan. What are you seeing? What are you thinking on this? What do you think about this? Through the entirety of the game plan. Because he's been imperative. I come off the field. He's number one, he's pumping me up. Number two, after we meet with Brian Greasy, he goes over what he sees, what he thinks. Like, this guy is a consummate professional and he can spin it. Now, Kyle told me, he goes, he started off, in a bad situation with the Jets. Jeremy Bates was their offense coordinator at the time. And Jeremy Bates was I guess, a kind of an Adam Gase type of guy. And Kyle was just like, he was operating the Peyton Manning offense, trying to operate as a rookie the Peyton Manning offense, which is, let's stay stagnant, let's not motion everybody, pre-snap, decide what they're in, and and then exploit what they're like. Kyle Shanahan was like, there's really only one dude that can play the Peyton Manning offense. That's Peyton Manning. Like, it's just, there's just too much shit for anybody else. And so this is the first time that he's really been through a true progression offense. 1, 2, 3, try to get through your progressions. It really doesn't matter what the coverage is, how to running game and all this kind of stuff. So um, he was just like, man, this offense is so intense, it's so in depth. And every day you come in, they're putting something new on your plate. It challenges you as a quarterback. It makes you have to think and study and prepare and be ready to roll on Sundays. And so here's a guy that is really exposed for the first time in his career as a, first round, third overall guy that really didn't pan out, that was really exposed to a traditional, really good NFL offense. I think that he is going to be a guy that is going to get an opportunity to play for somebody, and I think he's going to be a guy that you're going to see kind of blossom toward the end of his career.
And by the way, you're setting all this up, and I don't disagree with any of it. You might actually see a pretty good bidding war for this
Yeah,
guy because he's got the Kyle Shanahan sort of seal of approval, if you will, endorsement,
right.
and I think people around the league will respect how San Francisco does things, and they're going to look at Sam Darnold as the guy that's ready to blossom.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that that's going to be big. So getting back to Sean McVay, getting back
Yeah.
um, to the Rams. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris. I think Raheem Morris deserves another opportunity to be a head coach. I really do. I think he's exceptional the way he is groomed and built this defense with a bunch of young players. And I'm talking about, you're talking about guys like Kobe Durant and Quentin Lake as a young player, and like I mentioned, Kobe Turner and Bobby Brown and Ernest Brown and I mean, they've got a bunch of young players. Byron Young, who's a really good player, bunch of young guys to me who have really, really played well. And I'm a real big Raheem Morris fan. But Sean McVay, what they did this year was they hit in the draft. They moved a couple guys. Coleman Shelton at the center position, really playing good football. Um, Alaric Jackson at the left tackle position playing well. Steve Avila is a guy that to me is a really good. He's a rookie, plays left guard for them. He's been a huge difference maker. They went out and got Kevin Dotson, probably one of those guys that's not really a big signing, but has played really well, you know, sitting between Shelton at center and Havenstein at tackle. So they solidified their offensive line, which was really the biggest disappointment last year in their 5-win season. Couldn't keep guys healthy, really couldn't run the ball like they wanted to. And since about mid-season, I think they started at they started at 3-6 maybe, and they ended the season. Let me see, they were 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3-6, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. And then hit their bye week, and since their bye week, they've gone 6-1. And the way they've run the ball, the way they fit are 7-1. The way they run the
7-1.
ball, yeah, that's really what has been a difference maker for them. Kyron Williams has been great, but they've gotten back to doing what they do, and that is, disguise themselves as this 3 wide spread offense, and then cram it down your freaking throat. And it's almost like you don't know what hit you, and then set up all the play action stuff off of that. We talked about in our regular podcast about all the different ways San Francisco blocks you. And they block you with with two backs and two tight ends, and they're the number one team in the National Football League as far as base formation or two back formation. 49.5% of the time they're in two backs. The Rams, who play the exact same offense, are in two backs exactly 0% of the time. They've had no two back sets, but they have a receiver in Cooper Kupp who's super smart, sits in the quarterback meetings, meets with quarterbacks. Like this is how he operates as an offensive player. He is so dynamic on the edge, really a big time blocker, and they play a lot of what they call in Los Angeles, call 11.5 personnel. So they're in 3 wides, but Cooper Kupp can play, and they can run plays that are out of 12 personnel, meaning they can run it like Cooper Kupp is a second tight end. and he blocks people on the edge. I mean, he'll block defensive ends on the edge. He'll combine with another tight end to quad block them, or he'll combine with another with a tackle to tray block them. They call it Trinity when he's in there, as opposed to a tight end is in there. Just so you know. But anyhow, they do all these different things with Cooper Kupp on the edge, and the guy is the most willing participant. Man, he just tries to kill people as far as as a wide receiver is concerned. Then they go out and get Puka Nakua, who is essentially a fullback. So he'll be an insert player when they get into their duo package, meaning they condense, and it's double team, duo, tight end, tackle, double team, guard, center, double team. And here comes little Puka Nakua, who's not that little, but he motions in, and then he inserts, and he's got first force, whether it's a Sam back or whether it's a strong safety rolling down. Like, they use him like a fullback, and they use Cooper Kupp like a tight end. And so they're uniquely built that way. So as you prepare during the course of the week, you're preparing for certain things. They're giving you a lot of 12 personnel or two back personnel plays, but they're doing that out of three wides. And so it's just a different feel, a different look, something maybe you don't practice as much because you're not expecting it, but they do that. And that's one of the things that has made them so good. Kyle Shanahan told me flat out, that's a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. They have got a Super Bowl offense. They've got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Matthew Stafford, and he's operating at Hall of Fame level. They've got a Super Bowl offense. Their defense is good enough. Their special teams concerns me because they've had a lot of mistakes on special teams. They've given a bunch of returns, but they theoretically beat Baltimore. I think in Baltimore, and they gave up a punt return, a walk-off punt return at the end of the game. So you got to understand that this is a damn good football team, and I think they go into Detroit and win. Man, I think they're that well built, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Vizzy with Sean McVay. I'm curious because remember, this is somebody who we all kind of wondered around the NFL. Is he burned out? Does he need a break? Is he up for the appetite to rebuild this thing after coming off a Super Bowl just a couple of years ago? Being around him, talking to him, what were your impressions?
My impressions with him, because I asked him exactly about that. Like, hey man, were you close to retiring? What went down? He said, no, I really wasn't close to retiring. I had a reset. I had to have a mental reset. And you tend to forget like how fortunate we are to do what we do. And the physical, the mental task that is coaching or playing in the NFL, it can be overwhelming. And he mentioned Andrew Whitworth, who he's good buddies with. Andrew's older than him, so he played forever. He started at left tackle for 40 years in the league, for crying out loud, or 20 years. But Andrew always reminded him, it's always a blessing. It's never a burden. Like, playing in this league is a blessing. Coaching in this league is a blessing. And so Sean just said he spent a lot of time with his, self-talk, and trying to lift people up, be positive, and just having, intentional gratitude at all times, just to be thankful. And he's like, just because it ends without a Super Bowl does not mean it was an unsuccessful season. You just have to look at the things you learn and how you affect people, and how people grow and all those kind of things. So he had this mental reset that was really good for him, and I think that was for him the biggest thing that re-energized him. He and his wife had a child, and
Yep.
I don't know. He just felt like the guy that I had met with early in his career, that you just walked out of the room and you felt totally energized by his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the epitome of the old saying, there's two types of people: those who energize the room when they walk into it, and those who energize the room when they walk out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be the guy that brings energy to a room that I walk out of. I want to be the guy that brings energy to a room that I walk into. And he is that guy, man. He just brings a ton of energy into the room. He's straightforward. He's not afraid to tell you what he's thinking, what he wants to do, how he wants to accomplish. It's really cool too. I was asking about the relationship with Kyle, and he said because they play in the same division, it's been hard, to spend as much time talking as he would like to and picking each other's brains. He's like, if he played in if he was coaching the AFC or coaching in a
Right.
different division, it'd be different. And so just like the mutual respect they have for one another, the way they coach their football teams, the energy that they bring to their football teams, they are two of the just not only two of the great coaches, but truly two of the great guys, two of the great dudes in this league. So they're fun.
Did you get a chance to talk to Aaron Donald? Because I know that you have many times on this podcast said, without a
Mhm.
doubt, in your opinion, the best football player
Yeah.
in all of football. Put the quarterbacks aside, the best football player in football is Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I did. I talked to him pregame. He wasn't playing. He was
Yep.
just he was exercising and stuff. So I just talked to him for a second. I didn't want to bother his routine or whatever. But that dude's a great player. And I was asking Kyle Shanahan how you've had so much success against Aaron Donald, and he said very much like we talked about in the other podcast about how many different ways they have to block the edge and
Yep.
frustrate a defensive end. So when you play against Aaron Donald, you have to have a plan for him on every single play, and it's constantly got to be different. And he goes, at the end of the day, you've got to try to frustrate Aaron Donald to the point where he is, where he basically throws his hands up.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, easier to say than do.
Yep.
He goes, but here's the difference between that team in the last few years and the team they have right now. If Aaron isn't making a play, he goes, Kyle said that most of the time that defense would just wait around for Aaron to make a play. Felt like they were gonna do what they did, but they're just waiting around for Aaron to do something, to make a big time play. Like everybody's just kind of waiting. And he goes, now they don't wait. The other guys are all energized to make a play. And when they went through this rebuild process, not only Sean McVay, but also Les Snead and the rest of the organization,
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Morris went to Aaron Donald and said, what do you need? Like, what would you like us to go after? And Aaron Donald said to them, the only thing that I need you guys to do is just to draft players who care. Because that's it. They don't have to be the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the whatever. Just guys who care.
Hmm.
Guys who want to grind, guys who want to win, guys who care. And boy, I tell you what an incredible,
Yeah.
what a thoughtful kind of way to go about that. So really cool. Had great meetings. I'm telling you, I think the Rams are going to be a tough out. Of course, I've got recency bias having just met with them all, but and they're going to be a tough out in these playoffs.
Did you talk when you visited with Matthew Stafford? Did you allow yourselves to look beyond and the possibility of going back to Detroit at the time that you guys talked? It wasn't set in stone yet. Did you guys talk about the possibility? And
Yeah,
if so, how did
yeah.
he feel about the prospects of
Hey,
it?
everybody's excited about everybody's excited about it because everybody knows how much juice it's going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, hey, Matthew, like I said, Matthew's a Hall of Famer, and what he did in Detroit was incredible, considering the fact that they at the time, they weren't an organization. I mean, the last time they won a playoff game was in 1992. And
Yeah.
so, like, this is like, it was one of those situations. I think they're all excited about that opportunity to go back to Detroit, and they're all excited about their quarterback. Man, they love Matthew Stafford. He's smart. He's an unbelievable competitor. He's unbelievably talented. Like they're excited to go back to where he started. They're excited for the game. Like, as I'm sure Detroit is the exact same way. For their quarterback in Jared Goff. I mean, this is a great matchup. Like
Yeah.
the script writers got it right. It's phenomenal. What a matchup.
All right. Can't wait. Good stuff. Good
All
stuff.
right, buddy. Yep. For everybody involved in the Sync 2 podcast, we thank you so much for listening. And we will be back with you after the wild card round. So for Mike, I'm Mark, man. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinky Truth, we thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. If you want to see more of our videos, you can also be sure to check out our playlist. Let us know exactly what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of that.
Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.